There is a profound power in stillness, a subtle magnetism that emanates not from effort or strategy, but from the quiet depth of your own being. When a woman understands that her worth and her presence do not rely on the attention of another, she steps into a space that is inherently attractive. Inner stillness is not about withdrawing from life or becoming passive. It is about cultivating a calm, unshakable core that no external circumstance can disturb. This stillness becomes the silent language of allure, communicating to the world that you are complete within yourself. It is in this space that attraction arises naturally, without any need for persuasion, manipulation, or chasing. The modern world often teaches us to believe that love and attention are earned through action, through visible effort, through a continuous display of desire. Yet the truth is that the deepest bonds, the ones that touch the soul, are drawn toward energy that is serene and grounded. When you are restless or anxious, when your energy constantly reaches outward seeking validation, it creates a subtle tension that others can sense. This tension, however, is not attractive. It signals neediness, insecurity, or dependence. In contrast, when you cultivate stillness, you exude a quiet confidence. You are a woman who does not grasp or cling because you know that life unfolds in its own rhythm, and those who are meant to enter your world will arrive naturally. Inner stillness is nurtured through practices that anchor you in the present moment. Meditation, conscious breathing, walking in nature, and reflective journaling are all ways to connect with the quiet center of yourself. In these moments, you do not seek to change others or force outcomes. You simply observe, witness, and honor the flow of your own energy. As you cultivate this inner calm, a remarkable shift occurs. The world begins to mirror your peace. People are drawn to it because stillness carries a magnetic certainty, a sense of stability that is rare in a world filled with noise and distraction. This attraction is subtle, yet profound. A man does not feel it as a calculated move or an external display of charm. He experiences it as a quiet invitation, a sense that being near you is a reprieve from chaos, a chance to touch something serene and grounded. He senses that you are not defined by him, that your joy is whole and abundant within itself. This is the kind of attraction that does not fade with time or waver with circumstance. It is rooted in the authenticity of your presence. When a woman embodies this stillness, she is like a lake in the early morning, calm, reflective, and infinitely deep. One does not need to force entry into the lake. Those who approach are drawn by its quiet clarity. Stillness also allows your natural beauty, your intelligence, and your warmth to radiate without obstruction. When the mind is quiet, it no longer competes with thoughts of needing approval or worrying about outcomes. Your gestures, your words, and your energy become spontaneous expressions of your true self rather than performances designed to attract attention. This authenticity is magnetic in a way that effort can never achieve. A man feels it as a resonance, a gentle yet compelling force that calls to him without urgency or demand. He is not persuaded by words or actions, but is invited by the very essence of who you are. In cultivating inner stillness, there is also an understanding of timing. You learn to honor the natural unfolding of relationships. You do not rush, you do not push, and you do not chase. You recognize that love is not a transaction or a conquest. It is an organic process that arises when two energies meet in harmony. This patient presence requires trust in life itself, in the unseen forces that guide connections and encounters. When a woman embodies this trust, she becomes untouchable by fear or impatience, and simultaneously, she becomes irresistibly magnetic. Stillness teaches discernment. In the quiet, you can sense the intentions of others, the energy they carry, and whether it aligns with your own. You are no longer easily swayed by charm, flattery, or superficial attention. Your attraction does not depend on pleasing others, it depends on the integrity of your own spirit. In this way, stillness protects you as much as it attracts. It creates a space where only those who resonate with your energy can enter, ensuring that connections are genuine and meaningful rather than desperate or transactional. Even in moments of solitude, inner stillness becomes a source of empowerment. A woman who is at peace alone radiates freedom and completeness. She does not need another to validate her existence because she has found validation within. This is the essence of magnetic presence. It is a force that is quietly felt rather than loudly announced. It invites rather than demands, it draws rather than chases, and it speaks in the language of energy rather than words. Through stillness, The art of attraction transforms from a strategy into a natural expression of being. You no longer seek to influence outcomes or control another's heart. Instead, your calm, centered energy becomes a mirror of what love and connection can feel like. People are drawn not to what you do or how hard you try, but to the depth, serenity, and authenticity of your presence. This is the power of inner stillness. It is invisible yet undeniable, subtle yet profoundly magnetic, and it cultivates an attraction that is effortless, genuine, and enduring. There is a quiet power in being fully present, a depth of energy that far exceeds any attempt to chase or compel. Presence is not merely physical, it is an alignment of body, mind, and spirit in the moment, a harmony between your inner rhythm and the flow of life around you. When a woman learns to cultivate this kind of presence, she becomes magnetic in a way that effort alone can never achieve. The world and those whose attention she naturally draws respond not to the force she exerts, but to the depth she embodies. To pursue, to chase, is to fragment energy, to scatter, focus outward in anxious attempts to influence outcomes. Presence, by contrast, consolidates energy, creating a resonance that invites connection without coercion. To be present is to inhabit your own body, to feel the subtleties of breath, heartbeat, and posture. It is to notice the quality of your attention, how it shifts between thoughts of the past, projections of the future, and the richness of the now. When a woman becomes fully present, she no longer worries about whether he notices her or whether she is enough. She simply is, and this state of being communicates more powerfully than any words or actions designed to attract. Her energy is whole, complete, and grounded, and it signals to the world that she does not depend on validation from outside sources. The mind that chases is often clouded by desire, fear, and expectation. It is constantly calculating, anticipating, and planning strategies to gain attention, to provoke interest, or to create emotional responses. This energy, though active, lacks authenticity. It is visible, and it creates subtle tension that others can feel. Presence, in contrast, is effortless because it is rooted in awareness. It is the ability to notice without needing to change, to witness without striving, and to engage without grasping. A man senses this difference on a level beyond words. He feels it in the atmosphere, in the weight and warmth of energy that does not demand, does not insist, and does not chase. Cultivating presence requires patience and discipline. It involves stepping back from constant reactivity, from the impulse to seek, and instead choosing to inhabit the moment fully. It means listening deeply, not merely waiting for an opportunity to speak. It means engaging with the world and the people around you with curiosity, rather than judgment. This deep attentiveness is magnetic because it signals an inner freedom, freedom from need, from attachment, and from the relentless compulsion to influence. In this freedom, others feel drawn naturally to your energy, sensing that your world is rich, complete, and expansive, and that to enter it is to encounter something rare. Presence over pursuit also transforms the way interactions unfold. When a woman is grounded in her own awareness, she can respond to a man's energy with clarity and composure. She does not over-invest or over-analyze his words or actions, nor does she attempt to manipulate his feelings. She meets him with authenticity, with a calm confidence that comes from knowing her value is inherent and not contingent on his attention. This approach creates space for genuine connection because it removes pressure and tension, allowing attraction to emerge naturally. A man feels drawn not because she has tried to capture him, but because she embodies a depth and consistency that feels safe, alluring, and real. Being present also encourages subtlety in expression. Words, gestures, and glances become meaningful because they arise organically rather than from obligation or strategy. Every movement, every tone of voice, every smile carries the energy of awareness, the reflection of a mind and heart aligned with themselves. This is far more captivating than the effortful pursuit because it communicates integrity, authenticity, and inner peace. In such presence, a man senses that he is encountering a woman who is alive to life itself, a woman whose essence does not fluctuate with his attention, but remains steady and radiant. Furthermore, presence nurtures self-containment. When a woman anchors herself in the now, she reduces the inner noise of insecurity and longing. She no longer chases to fill a void, for she is already complete. This wholeness is magnetic because it speaks of maturity, balance, and inner strength. A man is drawn not to what she wants from him, but to the quality of energy she embodies, the subtle certainty that she is enough and that life around her is abundant. He senses that to be in her presence is not a transaction, but a communion with something authentic, steady, and profound. The practice of presence over pursuit also deepens intuition. When a woman is fully aware of herself and the moment, she can read energies and intentions with clarity. She perceives not just the surface, but the subtle currents beneath a man's words and actions. She moves with this awareness not to manipulate, but to maintain alignment with her own energy. This creates a natural rhythm of interaction in which attraction flows without force. Her awareness becomes a silent guide, ensuring that every exchange nourishes connection rather than dependency, and that desire arises organically from resonance rather than compulsion. In essence, presence over pursuit transforms attraction from an act of exertion into an art of being. It is the understanding that true magnetism does not come from chasing another's attention, but from embodying a depth, serenity, and authenticity that quietly calls forth connection. In this state, a woman moves through life with a calm confidence, a steady energy, and a grounded joy that attracts naturally. The man feels this energy before he even speaks. He senses that there is no pressure, no need, no urgency, only the quiet, radiant essence of a woman fully alive, fully aware, and fully herself. To value your own path is to recognize that your life, your journey, and your growth are sacred, and that they exist independently of anyone else's approval or attention. When a woman honors her own path, she steps into a magnetism that no effort to impress, no act of pursuit, and no desperate attempt to gain affection can replicate. Her energy becomes centered, whole, and deeply appealing because it is not fragmented by dependence on external outcomes. A man feels this alignment instinctively. He senses that he is encountering someone who moves through life with purpose, clarity, and integrity, and this resonance draws him closer without coercion or strategy. The modern world often conditions women to believe that relationships must take precedence over personal growth, that attention must be earned through compromise, charm, or constant presence. Yet the truth is that the woman who values her own path is naturally magnetic because she carries a fullness that cannot be found in pursuit or performance. She nurtures her mind, her body, her spirit, and her passions, creating a life rich with experiences and purpose. This richness is palpable. It communicates that she is not defined by the presence or absence of a man, and in this freedom, attraction arises effortlessly. Valuing your own path begins with clarity. Clarity about your goals, your desires, and your priorities. It is not arrogance or isolation. It is an awareness of what nourishes you and what aligns with your highest self. A woman who walks her path with intention radiates confidence and stability, and this is profoundly attractive because it signals authenticity. There is no frantic chasing because she does not need external validation. Her energy is self-sufficient, and it invites others to meet her on equal ground rather than creating a dynamic of dependence or pursuit. In cultivating your own path, discipline and consistency are essential. Every small step taken toward personal growth reinforces a sense of purpose and direction. Whether it is advancing in a career, developing a skill, exploring creativity, or deepening self-awareness, each action strengthens your inner foundation. A man notices not just what you have accomplished, but the energy that these efforts generate, the quiet strength, the joy in mastery, the satisfaction of progress. This energy communicates more deeply than words or gestures ever could. He is drawn to a woman whose life is moving forward, whose heart is engaged in her own journey, and whose mind is clear, centered, and fully present in her path. Valuing your own path also means creating boundaries that protect your time, energy, and attention. A woman who honors her own life does not overextend herself for the sake of gaining favor or attention. She chooses where to invest her energy with discernment, and this discernment itself becomes a source of attraction. It signals that she is intentional, self-aware, and capable of sustaining her own joy without relying on others to supply it. In turn, this inspires respect, curiosity, and admiration from a man who recognizes the depth and integrity of her life. There is a delicate balance in valuing your own path. It is not about rejecting connection, but about ensuring that connection complements rather than defines your journey. A man is drawn not to someone who diminishes herself to be near him, but to someone who stands fully in her own light. When she is engaged in her own passions, she moves with a vibrancy and energy that is naturally magnetic. Her presence in the world becomes a reflection of the life she has intentionally cultivated, and this energy calls forth admiration, desire, and connection without the need for chasing. Valuing your own path also teaches patience and trust. When a woman is deeply invested in her own growth, she understands that meaningful connections unfold in their own time. She does not force encounters, manipulate emotions, or rush outcomes. Instead, she allows life to move with its own rhythm, confident that those who resonate with her energy will be drawn to her organically. This patience is not passive. It is an active engagement with her own journey, a commitment to living fully and authentically in the present moment. In this way, attraction becomes a byproduct of her completeness rather than a goal in itself. Furthermore, when a woman values her own path, she radiates self-respect and inner confidence. Her happiness, her fulfillment, and her sense of purpose are not contingent on the presence or approval of a man. This independence is magnetic because it conveys that she is a whole person who enters relationships not from need, but from abundance. He senses that being in her presence is an opportunity to experience the richness of her life, not to fill a void or escape loneliness. This energy, subtle yet powerful, attracts desire and connection in a natural, effortless way. Ultimately, valuing your own path is about alignment of actions, intentions, and energy with your true self. It is the conscious choice to honor your life, to nurture your passions, to cultivate growth, and to move through the world with integrity. In doing so, you create a presence that is compelling, resonant, and magnetic. A man feels this energy intuitively. He recognizes that she is not chasing him, not seeking to bend to his desires, but instead is fully engaged in the journey of her own life. This recognition awakens admiration, curiosity, and attraction because it is rare to encounter a woman whose light shines independently, yet naturally invites connection. In energy is the silent language of attraction, far more profound than words, gestures, or appearances. It is the vibration you carry, the rhythm of your presence, and the resonance of your inner state. A man may not consciously articulate why he feels drawn to a woman, but energy communicates on a level deeper than thought, reaching into the heart before it reaches the mind. When a woman understands the subtle influence of energy, she realizes that attraction is not created by force or persuasion, but by cultivating the quality of her own being. She becomes magnetic not by striving to impress, but by embodying a vibration that naturally resonates with those she wishes to draw into her life. Energy is an extension of the self. It reflects the clarity, calmness, and alignment within. When a woman is fragmented, anxious, or reactive, her energy disperses outward in ways that signal need, tension, or imbalance. A man may sense this even if he cannot put it into words, and it creates subtle resistance rather than attraction. Conversely, when a woman is centered, grounded, and aware, her energy communicates stability, warmth, and strength. It invites rather than demands, draws rather than pushes, and speaks with a language that is felt rather than analyzed. The quality of this energy cannot be faked. It emerges organically from a deep alignment with oneself. The subtle influence of energy begins with awareness of the present moment. Every thought, emotion, and intention carries vibration. When a woman becomes conscious of her inner state, she can consciously cultivate energy that is inviting, serene, and expansive. Meditation, mindful breathing, and reflective practices help create a stable inner core from which her energy flows naturally. As this energy stabilizes, it radiates outward, touching the spaces and people around her in ways that words cannot replicate. A man is drawn to this presence not because she performs, but because he senses the depth, authenticity, and calm authority of her being. Energy is also expressed through the body and its movement. A woman's posture, gestures, and even her gaze carry subtle signals that influence attraction. When she moves with grace, awareness, and calm confidence, her energy becomes tangible, a quiet force that resonates with those nearby. The alignment of body and mind creates coherence that is magnetic. It signals that she is grounded in herself and in her life. Conversely, tension, fidgeting, or compulsive movements signal distraction, anxiety, or dependence, creating resistance rather than connection. The energy she projects, consciously or unconsciously, becomes a blueprint for how others perceive and respond to her presence. The energy of a woman also influences emotional atmosphere. A man senses whether a woman's energy carries warmth, curiosity, joy, or tension, anxiety, and neediness. Emotional energy is contagious. Calmness invites calmness. Confidence invites admiration, and openness invites trust and intimacy. When a woman cultivates positive, grounded energy, she does not need to manipulate or perform to gain affection. Her energy itself acts as a magnet, drawing those whose vibration aligns naturally with hers. The subtlety lies in the fact that this influence is invisible to the eye, yet undeniable in its effect. It is felt in the heart and body before it is understood by the mind. The subtle influence of energy also teaches discernment in interactions. When a woman is attuned to her own energy, she can recognize the energies of others and respond in ways that maintain her own alignment. She is not swayed by superficial charm or aggressive pursuit because she senses the quality of the person's vibration. This discernment allows her to engage with presence rather than reaction, to invite connection rather than chase it, and to foster attraction that is mutual and resonant. A man feels this as a quiet, compelling force that draws him toward her naturally, without caution or effort. Energy is amplified by authenticity. The alignment of words, intentions, and inner state creates coherence that is deeply attractive. A woman who speaks, acts, and moves in harmony with her inner truth radiates an energy that is compelling because it is consistent and reliable. There is no tension between appearance and essence, between action and intention. This integrity in energy creates trust, curiosity, and fascination. A man is drawn to her not because she seeks to manipulate him, but because he senses that her presence is a reflection of a complete whole and authentic self. Even silence carries energy. A woman does not need to fill space with words or gestures to influence attraction. Her energy alone speaks volumes. The calm steadiness of her presence, the warmth in her gaze, the subtle rhythm of her breathing, all these convey vitality, self-assurance, and receptivity. This subtle influence is far more potent than pursuit because it operates on a deeper, almost instinctual level. A man feels it without consciously analyzing it, and this feeling evokes desire, attention, and admiration in ways that overt effort never can. Ultimately, the subtle influence of energy is about mastery of self rather than mastery of others. Attraction is not manufactured, it is reflected. The energy a woman carries is the mirror through which the world responds. When she cultivates calm, centered, authentic, and vibrant energy, she becomes magnetic without needing to chase. Her presence communicates abundance, stability, and allure. It invites connection organically, nurtures resonance naturally, and awakens desire effortlessly. Desire, in its most authentic form, thrives in space, in the quiet expanses between presence and absence, in the pauses that allow longing to take shape. When a woman seeks to control or force affection, when she chases and insists, desire often retreats, suffocated by pressure and expectation. True attraction does not arise from compulsion. It emerges naturally when there is room for curiosity, appreciation, and the gentle unfolding of emotional resonance. Allowing space for desire is the art of creating a subtle tension, a sense of anticipation, and a quiet invitation that draws without demanding, invites without chasing, and cultivates connection without force. To create this space, one must first understand the nature of desire itself. Desire is not merely a reaction to physical presence or attention. It is an emotional and energetic response to the subtle interplay between proximity and distance, engagement and freedom. When a woman is fully present yet not overextending herself to gain validation, she offers a field in which desire can flourish. A man senses that there is room for his own feelings to grow, to emerge organically, and to deepen over time. He is not pressured to perform or to respond immediately. He is invited to explore the connection on his own terms, which awakens a sense of longing that is far more powerful than anything forced or orchestrated. Allowing space for desire also requires trust. Trust in the natural flow of connection, trust in the timing of life, and trust in one's own worth. A woman who understands her value knows that she does not need to chase, coerce, or manipulate. She trusts that those who resonate with her energy will be drawn to her naturally. This trust is calming, magnetic, and deeply attractive. A man senses it even if unconsciously, and it stirs a sense of admiration and curiosity. In this space, desire grows organically, nurtured by the rhythm of freedom and the absence of pressure. Creating space does not mean withdrawing completely or becoming distant in an unkind way. It is a delicate balance between presence and openness, between engagement and allowing autonomy. A woman engages with warmth, authenticity, and attention, yet she does not smother, insist, or overcommit to the pursuit of another's affection. Her energy communicates both receptivity and independence, signaling that connection is welcome, but not at the expense of her own integrity or life's flow. This balance cultivates desire because it respects the man's autonomy while simultaneously reflecting the woman's own completeness. The absence of pressure also amplifies curiosity. When a woman allows space, a man is invited to explore, to reach out, and to discover the dimensions of her being on his own initiative. He begins to notice the nuances, the quiet laughter, the subtle intelligence, the warmth in her presence that cannot be fully appreciated under the strain of pursuit. Desire is strengthened by this freedom, by the sense that the connection is something earned through resonance and energy rather than demanded by need or manipulation. In this way, space becomes a fertile ground for attraction, a silent architect of longing and emotional investment. Allowing space also encourages patience and discernment. A woman learns to resist the urge to fill gaps with words, gestures, or efforts designed to solicit attention. Instead, she observes, trusts, and honors the rhythm of the interaction. This patience does not signify passivity, it signifies maturity and an understanding that meaningful connections unfold over time. Desire deepens when it is given the room to grow, unforced and unhindered by anxiety or expectation. In this way, the woman's restraint is not withdrawal, but a conscious cultivation of energy that nurtures emotional resonance naturally. Space amplifies energy and subtle presence. When a woman is fully engaged in her life, her passions, and her growth, she creates an energy field that does not cling or press. This energy allows a man to enter freely and to respond to the vibrancy, independence, and depth of her being. He is drawn not to the actions of pursuit, but to the energy that radiates from a woman who is grounded, self-aware, and complete. Space becomes the medium through which attraction flows effortlessly, as the unforced interplay of energies awakens desire organically. Furthermore, allowing space for desire honors the authenticity of emotional connection. It does not manipulate or fabricate longing, it simply provides the environment in which genuine attraction can emerge. A man senses that the connection is not contingent on pressure or performance, and this safety encourages vulnerability, openness, and sincere emotional engagement. Space in this context becomes an expression of respect for oneself, for the other person, and for the integrity of the connection. It is the silent acknowledgement that love and desire are not possessions to be seized, but energies to be shared freely. Ultimately, allowing space for desire is an act of alignment with natural laws of human connection. It is the understanding that attraction flourishes not under force, but under the gentle interplay of presence, freedom, and patience. The woman who embodies this principle cultivates a field in which longing, admiration, and emotional resonance grow spontaneously. She does not chase, she does not coerce, she does not plead. Instead, she creates the subtle conditions in which desire can awaken, deepen, and evolve organically. Guided by the quiet rhythm of authentic energy, there is a power in consistency that is quiet, understated, and profound. It is not loud or demanding. It does not seek recognition or affirmation. Yet when a woman embodies a gentle yet consistent presence, her energy communicates reliability, stability, and warmth, creating a magnetic pull that no frantic effort can imitate. This kind of presence is not about chasing or seeking attention. It is about being grounded in oneself while allowing others to enter her world naturally. A man senses this steadiness intuitively, feeling a deep comfort and curiosity in the space she holds. He is drawn to her energy not because she commands it, but because she radiates it effortlessly, and in this quiet constancy, desire and admiration grow organically. Gentleness is the key quality in this presence. It is the soft, non-forceful aspect of energy that creates an atmosphere of trust and safety. A woman who approaches life and interactions with gentleness does not impose, does not pressure, and does not manipulate. She communicates with warmth, kindness, and attentiveness, allowing her energy to invite rather than demand. This subtle influence is profoundly attractive because it contrasts sharply with the noisy, grasping energy that often surrounds relationships. A man is drawn to gentleness because it reflects emotional maturity, inner calm, and a sense of security, qualities that resonate deeply with his own sense of longing and desire. Consistency, paired with gentleness, forms the foundation of true magnetism. It is not a rigid mechanical repetition, but a reliable flow of presence that can be felt over time. A woman who shows up with steady energy, who honors her own life while remaining approachable and engaged, communicates that she is reliable, trustworthy, and aligned with her own values. This constancy allows others to relax, to feel safe, and to open emotionally, which fosters authentic connection. A man senses this as a rhythm that he can attune to, a quiet signal that she is not chasing him or reacting from insecurity, but moving from a place of grounded self-possession. The practice of gentle yet consistent presence requires awareness of one's own energy and intentions. It demands that a woman be conscious of how she carries herself in moments of interaction, recognizing that every gesture, word, and action communicates far more than the content of speech alone. To embody this presence, she must be mindful of her reactions, her emotional tone, and her attention. She must ensure that her energy remains aligned with her values and her sense of self, rather than being swayed by external pressures or fleeting desires. This self-alignment allows her presence to remain gentle and steady, even amidst uncertainty or unpredictability in the behavior of others. Consistency is also a form of silent communication. It signals to a man that she is reliable, patient, and emotionally grounded. He notices, often without conscious thought, that her energy does not fluctuate wildly, that her attention is steady, and that her presence is calm and reassuring. This energy inspires trust and curiosity because it is not frantic or reactive, it is measured, deliberate, and authentic. In contrast to volatility or neediness, which creates tension and unpredictability, a gentle and consistent presence creates a sense of safety and attraction that is magnetic and enduring. Being gentle yet consistent does not mean overextending oneself or diminishing one's own needs. On the contrary, it requires clear boundaries, self-respect, and alignment with one's own path. A woman who embodies this presence is attentive to others without losing herself, warm without being dependent, and steady without being rigid. She moves through life with poise, cultivating her own energy while remaining receptive to connection. This balance allows desire to flourish naturally as it provides space for others to engage freely, explore emotional resonance, and recognize the integrity of her being. The subtlety of this presence is its most compelling feature. A man may not articulate why he feels drawn to her, but he senses the steadiness, warmth, and authenticity of her energy. He experiences her presence as a grounding force, a quiet yet powerful influence that inspires admiration, curiosity, and desire. This influence operates beneath the level of conscious thought, touching the heart and intuition before the mind has the chance to question or analyze. It is a form of attraction that cannot be manufactured, rehearsed, or forced. It emerges naturally from the alignment of her energy, her intentions, and her authentic self-expression. Gentle yet consistent presence also cultivates emotional balance. A woman who embodies this quality is not swayed by fluctuations in attention, mood, or circumstance. She does not chase when he withdraws, nor does she overreact when faced with uncertainty. Her steadiness communicates self-possession and inner strength, which in turn fosters respect, admiration, and longing. A man is drawn not to her efforts or actions, but to the quality of energy she sustains, the quiet rhythm of her presence, and the subtle assurance that she is complete within herself. Ultimately, the combination of gentleness and consistency creates an energy field that naturally draws a man closer without any need for pursuit or manipulation. It is a form of attraction that is rooted in authenticity, alignment, and integrity. A woman's energy, when expressed with gentle yet unwavering presence, becomes a quiet force of magnetism, inviting, calming, and profoundly attractive. It allows desire, admiration, and emotional connection to arise organically, creating a space in which both individuals can meet from alignment rather than need,